What up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Hope everybody's had a great 2025 so far. It's definitely been interesting, but let's not get into all that other stuff. I'm here to talk about some music, and I'm going to do my favorite album of 2024. And if you watched my top 10 albums of 2024 video, you would know that album I'm referring to is Last Dinosaurs, and the album is called KYORYU. KYORYU. KYORYU, I think. It's Japanese for dinosaur. It's also apparently short for the two singers' middle names. Just a cool little fact I found on Wikipedia. But yeah, let's get into that album. Alright, so Last Dinosaurs are an Australian indie rock band comprised of brothers Sean and Lachlan Caskey. Both handle vocals and guitar. The current bassist is Michael Sloan. They've been dropping music in one form or the other since 2010 with their debut album titled In a Million Years that dropped back in 2011. Their first album dropped in 2011, which is awesome for me because I just love when I stumble on a new artist late. And I found out that they just have years and years and years of back catalog that I can go into. So yeah, I like to jump back into all of that, and I can just listen to, their musical progression all at once and just really take it in and appreciate them, just all at once. So I really, really loved that. But yeah, I actually heard of these guys through my daughter's 2022 top 100 Spotify playlist. I was searching through that, and I was just going through it just to, judge her musical taste. That's a joke. But I was just genuinely curious to see what she was listening to at that time. And I stumbled on this song called The Hating, which was from their album From Mexico with Love. And I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was groovy, but it also rocked, if that makes sense. The lyrics were fun, but also edgy. And the vocals and melodies were something more akin to like old school rock and roll, like the Beach Boys and stuff like that. Above all, their music just made me feel good, which is kind of new to me. Now, being in my 30s, I grew up on lots of new metal and gangster rap. Not a lot of feel good there. And as an adolescent and young adult, I kind of leaned more into underground hip hop, some R&B here and there, and just, heavy metal, metalcore, that type of stuff. Sprinkle some experimental stuff in there as well, and I have listened to my fair share of indie bands, but never had there been a band that filled this, sort of musical void in my life besides maybe Bad Rabbits at their funkiest. But this was different, definitely. So yeah, I wanted to hate them. I really did. They're unlike anything I'd ever listened to growing up. So I jumped into their past four albums, like I was saying earlier, and just kind of fell in love with the band. I got the chance to see them live in Denver about a year and a half ago, and they just absolutely blew me away at the show. And by that point, I just became a huge fan. We actually just went and saw them again in Denver at Meow Wolf, and that was absolutely insane. I will be uploading those videos after I do this review, so go check those out as well. Yeah, and just seeing them on guitars just actually shred was crazy, because I was kind of to the understanding that a lot of it was more, like programmed instruments, and some of the stuff I thought was more electronic was actually them playing the guitars, so that was really cool. That was the first time I really noticed that each brother kind of had certain songs of their own, which is definitely a big piece of how this two-part album came to be. All right, so around the same time, they started dropping singles for this album, and I could already see that they were starting to take their sound in a different direction. This time it sounded newer, it sounded much bigger. This time they were also going to deliver a concept album, which was made apparent by some YouTube sort of intro videos they released. Complete with its own universe and even a manga to help tell the story. But yeah, so now that all of that is over, we can go ahead and just jump into the album. So this album has been released as two EPs, with the songs being written and performed by Sean on the Kyo side and Lachlan handling the Ryu side. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to try to explain the concept of this album, the first side. So the idea of this first EP is that the world is at peak capitalism, and there's this egomaniac slash narcissist, someone who believes the earth revolves around them. He's paranoid, scared of the deep state, Well, he gets microchipped and studied as he ascends into the world's 1%. He's then outsmarted by the deep state and eventually becomes part of an experiment to create an AI satellite that is complete with all the knowledge and experience of humankind. Blinded by his own ego, he was sold the promise of immortality in a virtual universe. The satellite launches as society is, collapsing, and guess what? The system fails. So our character is now merged with the AI satellite, and he experiences everything the AI satellite has collected until he himself is eventually wiped away completely. So after that, all that remains is, the satellite orbiting Earth, which I just thought was a really nice touch as well. It's a man who once believed the world revolved around himself, now is doomed to revolve around the Earth for eternity. So there's that. So yeah, the first side of the album kind of tells that story as it progresses. Not necessarily in like a straightforward narrative, but kind of more like a soundtrack for that story. So yeah, I'll try to touch on that story as I go through these songs, but I'm also going to give you what the song means to me and how I interpret that to myself. So now that the scene has been set for the first side, let's jump into these tracks. Okay, so the first song is called Keys to My Civic. To me, this song is all about just cruising and letting all your feelings just drift away. It's the joy of driving and being on top of the world, and boy, does it sound like it. There's a nice bop to this one and a cool electric guitar chord that kind of just cruises you through the chorus. Listen to this one on the highway for sure. It's definitely a car jam. And as the story goes, our character was part of the elite, and maybe even a celebrity that advertised all the new Hondas, so that's kind of where that fits into the story. Next up, we got a song called NPD, which is definitely one of my favorites on here. Now on this one, we go full narcissist, and it just never felt so good. This one kind of has like a New Jack swing to it, and if the music video is accurate, I think we actually get lead vocals from their bassist on this one. But great job, dude. Also, the layering on the vocals is just so butter smooth. This one is definitely a banger. And the song ends with the sound of the satellite drifting and someone asking about the Beach Boys. Now that leads us into an extended Beach Boy-esque intro into the next song called Self-Serving Human Being. Now, like the title says, and as the story goes, most people at the top are just self-serving human beings, oblivious to the world around them. It touches on how, as we get older, life just kind of beats a lot of us down until we just say, you know what, fuck your feelings, as long as I'm doing good. Big Beach Boys vibes on this one. It's a really fun song. And I absolutely love the guitars on this one. If you haven't caught on by now, these dudes really be shredding, like that old school kind of shredding, like Back to the Future, Marty McFly shredding on that stage, that kind of shit. So yeah, next song we have is called Paranoia Paradise. This is where the deep state paranoia sort of kicks in. Our character has ascended to the top 1%, and he's realizing that they're all just part of the plan. Living in a world where we all crave originality, but are ultimately the same, where we all are being surveilled, oppressed, and pitted against one another, and then being sold. And yeah, it's all part of this major cycle. And once you realize that, most of us try to break free, but can only merely find a purpose to make it hurt less. Now this song is really kind of spacey and kind of has this old bandstand type of sound to it. The drums really kind of induce the paranoia on the listener as it just kind of pounds away at a steady rhythm. Almost like it's, panicking or something. Not my favorite on here, but I've grown to love it as a major part of the story. And I actually saw them perform this song live recently and made me love it even more. It was really, really good. So the song ends with some narration, maybe even being given by our character. It's kind of hard to make it all out. Where's my subtitles? Then we get various other transmissions leading into the next song called 14 Occasions. Now, to me, 14 Occasions is all about overcoming self-doubt, trying over and over again until you figure it out, and just, overcoming the fear and loathing that comes with being human, and just accepting what comes with being a human being. It's a really dreamy track with some fluttering drums throughout and a really sweet chorus. Now in the manga, this song fits in where our character has been launched into the satellite, and he's experiencing his early life and then all of the world experiences all at once while the satellite is taking him over. And with that song, we close the first side of the album titled KYORYU. Now this next song I'm really mad about because I bought the vinyl and it was not included, but they did decide to sandwich this amazing track into the digital album right in between EPs. So if you go stream this, it should be there. This song is called Wait Your Turn, and it's definitely one of the standouts for me. This song to me is about growing older and embracing the change and the challenges that come with it. Don't close your eyes and just be fearless in facing it. This song just makes me feel very nostalgic when I listen to it. You know, I can just sit back and think about my kids, the life I've built over the years. It just really brings out a lot of strong emotions and memories for me. And I gotta say, they knocked it out of the park with the video. It's entirely made of fan submission videos. I'm so mad. I missed that. But yeah, it's an amazing song. Awesome guitar solo in this one too. I just love the tone on it. The drums are drumming. The chorus is amazing. The more it hurts, the less I look away. I just love that line. Can't say enough good things about this song. Make sure to listen to that one if you don't listen to anything else on the album. Alright, now that side one is over, we can discuss the second EP titled KYORYU. So the concept of the album is 1,000 years later, the AI revolution has been fought, won, and then lost. Civilization carries on, although the Earth is blanketed with space junk and debris imprisoning humankind. So yeah, 2 satellite spotters happen to run across the satellite from side A, still orbiting the Earth. And at this point, the satellite's battery runs critically low and reprograms itself to broadcast the music detailing the human experience based on the algorithms it absorbed in the previous society. So yeah, this side is the collection of those transmissions. So yeah, like the first EP, this one comes accompanied by a transmission explaining the concept on YouTube as well. So yeah, let's just get into these transmissions. Okay, so our opening track is called Elton, which is also a nod to the robotic dog in the manga. And the singer Elton John, I'm sure. This song, Elton, sounds like it's all about how falling in love feels. It's those butterflies, the pounding heart, the courage it takes to ask someone out, and how that doesn't just always have to be some grand gesture. Just be kind and be yourself, and you know, that's enough, man. The song is sweet, it's upbeat, it just makes you want to sing along. Really vibey guitars and just a huge chorus. So the next transmission that comes through is called Slow, and I absolutely love this one. Now Slow, like the name suggests, they slow it down a bit and we really get to vibe out for a second. They give us some dusty drums, a nice set of chords that sound like they were strummed from a damn hammock. And man, the harmonies on this one would just make the Beatles blush. And when I saw them play this song too, I was wondering if they could manage to do that harmony section, and they did and killed it. Then we get another awesome guitar solo on this one towards the end. It's one of the best tracks on either sides for sure for me. And now on the human algorithm side of things, this one is all about falling out of relationships. Sometimes because of the direction life takes you and sort of the self-pity that comes along with that. But yeah, the real message of the song though is the other side of that, where you got to find happiness in yourself because the world loves to see you down. The radio station then changes and we're given the new transmission called Yin and Yang. Now this one is probably my least favorite of all the tracks on here, but I still do like it. I gotta say it's probably one of their most experimental tracks to date. This with the Deep State Paranoia one. The song is complete with the whistle, spacey drums that just sort of bounce along. Sort of sounds like you're cruising through space. I believe on this one we are dealing with the eternal struggle of the human mind, the yin and yang within us, if you will. It's a fun song, still not my favorite, but we really pick it up with this next one, which I believe was the first single off their album. So yeah, Afterlife, I actually saw them perform this one again too, the first time I saw them. And that was sort of the moment I knew I was hooked for life. They came out and just killed it. It's definitely a banger, and it almost kind of responds to the last song in a way. The song proclaims that heaven is all in your head and you can do anything if you have that one person you just bust down the walls for. And if you have that, man, nothing else matters. Like I said, this one is a banger for them, and definitely more fast-paced than they usually do. I just love it. So Walking on Ice is our next transmission, and like the title implies, it's all about navigating people's sensibilities and living up to the expectations and just trying not to explode. But, everyone's out to get theirs, and in the end, you just can't help but think about blowing up and the relief that that might just bring. And again, this is another pretty experimental one for them. It almost has this kind of spaghetti western type sound to it. Moody lyrics, a drowned out chorus, and some strange guitars sort of layered in the back. That all lead up to an excellent bridge and guitar solo on the back end. I just love that part. Last but certainly not least, we get the final transmission of the EP titled The Way You Are. So The Way You Are is about, that girl next door, or like they put it, the girl with the long hair. Everyone kind of grew up with one of these or have heard a story. It's a classic human tale, that story of that childhood longing, that crush on the girl in your class that just has no idea at all or interest. But she's not like the rest, she lives in her head, she hates her eyes, all those movie tropes. You can't just help but sit there and obsess over her. This is that Forrest and Jenny love. There's dreamy vocals on this one, more of those dusty drums that I love so much, and just an absolutely over-the-top chorus. Really makes you feel like a kid in class again. It's just an awesome closing song to the album, and from there, the satellite sort of drifts into space, with the final transmission being called Not From Here. And with that, we just drift away to the sound of the satellite and piano keys. There's some staticky human voices of the past and space in there. And then that concludes side B called Ryu. So yeah, I really hope you guys check out this album if you haven't already. If you're a fan of real musicians that just kind of keep that spirit of songwriting and performing alive, this is something special. This is something that should be celebrated and listened to and shared and enjoyed. We all love it over here. It's sort of a family thing at this point. This album and The Last Dinosaurs are, as a whole, something to witness. This album pushed their sound forward and tested their creativity unlike any of their other projects before. And I think they stuck the landing perfectly, really. You can tell it's still them. All the pieces that made you fall in love with their earlier work is still there, but they are truly in the future with this album. I just love concept albums, like I've said before. And if done well, they really can just be like watching a movie you love. And that really allows for just so much more replay value. I don't think I've put this album down at all this year. So yeah, they really did their thing with this one, man. I've listened to it a million times. They built up their own universe, complete with characters and stories, and use that to explore, more human emotions than they ever could just by, writing about their own. Sort of get out of your own head type of thing. So I think their idea was just brilliant. There are a million different ways they can take their sound and songwriting from here as well. And if they would like to visit this universe again, and I hope they do, it wouldn't be hard to just jump back into this world and create more music, more transmissions, that whole sort of thing, write more stories. The possibilities are endless. But yeah, I hope you check out the album. It's for sure my most played album this year. They are my top artist. Several of my top songs. So yeah, just go listen to them. Anyways, that's the end of my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I really do love this band, so I hope it shows in the effort I put into writing this review. Again, thanks to all the new viewers I've had recently. Like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 one day. That would be nice. Probably need to be more consistent with my videos, but, time is a thing. Go check out my son's page, Evanzilla, 2 A's at the end. We have lots of fun over there. Show your kids. It's great. I think that's everything. Hope you liked the review. Last Dinosaurs, KYORYU, or vice versa. Check out the album. Peace.